Hello, everyone, one and all. We, on the behalf of Franchise India, welcome you all to the third edition of Business Opportunity Over Chai webinar. My name is Snigdha, and I work on the marketing team here at Franchise India. We as a group believe in reaching out to
You are
our
not
potential
clear.
investors.
Archana, can you lead this because Nikda is not clear?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar. Today, we are at the third session of our series, which is Business Opportunity Over Chai. We welcome our panelist, uh, Gaurav sir, who is the chairman of Franchise India. We welcome our second panelist, our MD, Ms. Sonia Chaudhary. And we welcome our speaker for the day, Pratik Rana. He's from Laundry Anna, the Bangalore-based laundry chain. They are already operational with 12 stores across Pan India. Without wasting time, we'll invite Pratik Rana to give an understanding about how Laundry Anna works for all our investors. And we wish all our potential business buyers who are there with us on this particular webinar to use the chat tool to give us maximum question and answer so that we can give you all the answers. So over to you, Pratik, and we'll definitely share question and answers during the question and answer session. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Archana. Thank you, Gaurav sir. Thank you, Sonia ma'am, to arrange this webinar. I'm sure most of the prospective, investors and franchisees would find it really helpful among these challenging times. A warm welcome to everybody who is, watching this and attending this webinar. A warm welcome from Laundry Anna and Franchisee India. I will quickly take you through a very, very quick brief of, our company, our journey, our vision for the industry. And then probably we'll quickly have, a discussion with Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. And then we'll probably move to a question and answer session where, each and every query of you will be, addressed appropriately. Okay, so Laundry Anna is a Bangalore-based brand in laundry and dry cleaning industry. And currently, if you look at the number of stores and the sales that we generate, the number of orders that we create, our user base, we are the Bangalore's fastest growing laundry and dry cleaning service. A quick brief about me: I am a hotel management graduate from Chennai. And just right out of college, I was picked up, through campus placement with Kingfisher Airlines, which had initially launched, and one of the most fascinating job opportunities for any hospitality graduate. I started my career with Kingfisher Airlines in airport operations, and subsequently moved to customer services and reservations training, and also into the customer services auditing at the airport level. And that's where I was certified by QMS as an auditor. My role with Kingfisher Airlines have been, pretty diversified, if you ask me, because we were trained into the highest standards of, customer service, irrespective of the fate that the airline had. I don't think so anybody can deny the, the level of customer service that Kingfisher Airlines had raised. And each and every of the team members were trained on the highest standards of customer service. So that's one part. And then obviously more into the airport operations, the compliances and training that really developed all of us at, individual, upskills. After Kingfisher Airlines, I worked with Biocon into CRM operations, which typically dealt with a lot of, compliances with the pharmaceutical companies and handling the top KOLs of the industry. And, after a very short stint with Biocon of about 1.5 years, I picked up a marketing and branding role with a very new startup, WeCare, which was into a chain of corporate childcare centers. And we have some of the best, designed corporate childcare centers for major corporations like Microsoft, IBM, etc. in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Consequently, WeCare was acquired by Clay Group in 2017. That's little after I had left the company. during my stint with WeCare, I had also started, one of the very early platforms for training and placement of domestic workers in 2013 with my wife, which is still, actively operating in Bangalore. And we basically, deal with training, placement, and upskills, and of domestic workers. And we are already moving to a complete tech-enabled platform for that. And immediately after my stint with WeCare, while working, together on Housemate for You, I started Laundry Anna in the year 2015. Now, before I move to my journey of Laundry Anna, I'll quickly take you through why I started Laundry Anna. I mean, there has to be a thought process that goes behind before we start anything, right? So I'll quickly take you through the major challenges in this particular industry. So if you see, I mean, there are various reports. There is Euromonitor, there's KPMG. Some very, very comprehensive and detailed reports done on the Indian laundry industry, and they all peg it, laundry industry at somewhere about 70 billion, and 2021 we are expecting to make it about 76 billion dollars. Now that's a huge market ready to be addressed. Obviously, I mean, all these reports are publicly available that can be, seen, viewed across the digital platforms. Now, if you see, I mean, obviously there's a huge, size of the industry, and you might be wondering that why don't we have a very, a national level player, or maybe, why do we have city-based players or zonal players? You have somebody who has got a very good name in Mumbai or in Delhi or in, Kolkata or in Bangalore. Although the size of the industry is very big, but if you see, there's a lot of this to be addressed via the organized format. So typically 96 or roughly even less than 5% of this is still organized. And that's the market that needs to be addressed to. Now 96% almost of it is very unorganized. If you see, you have those, maids taking care of your clothes washing and ironing. You have those, local dhobis who do the only ironing, or, you have those local ironing shops, your neighborhood local ironing shop, who are pretty much unorganized. So this is what, prompted us to, kind of consider that industry and try to move into it. Now, if you see, what are the current gaps? Now let's talk about the industry. Now, what are the current gaps? Obviously, it's not that we still have a good, a little segment of this, which is organized. So what are the challenges with organized players? Let's move on to that. Now, the current gap, if you see, organized players, let's talk about dry cleaners, which are pretty much organized. Now, they are more into walk-ins. It's like having a brick and mortar store and not really adopting the advent of the on-demand and the doorstep model. Most of them, few of them might be doing it. You call them, they'll send probably somebody. But if you see the organized channel of, it's like the same way, like people earlier used to call up restaurants, and, so doorstep delivery of food was still happening. But all these, newer apps, what they have done is, they have organized it. They have made it more tech-enabled, data-oriented, service-oriented. So that's what was missing in this. And the reason it's missing is obviously because there are a lot of operations and logistics challenges. This industry is a very operations-intensive industry. And adding anything on the top of, you to have a backend, a tech backend, compared to the, intensity of a courier. It's typically, when you have on demand, you can compare to the tech backend that is required to run a courier service. That's the kind of, strong tech is required for this. And for an operations intensive industry, people having probably 1 or 2 stores or a smaller chain, it becomes very difficult for them to do it. And obviously there's a lack of resources to generate a very, very sustainable demand from users. Obviously there are multiple, players operating in a very hyper local market. So that's exactly how it is. And obviously now when you talk about tech platforms, everybody knows to create a very robust tech platform is not an easy job. Now somebody who is, working a local, hyperlocal market or a city base, it becomes very, very difficult for them to create a platform like that, because obviously the resources crunch is there, funds crunch is there, and number of things why, tech platforms are not possible for players like this. So these were the current gaps which, the industry faced, and we worked and we thought and we brainstormed how we could, kind of cover it up to, to lessen the gap between these. So that's where we started with the, vision of Laundry Anna. To basically, the idea was to have a service which bridges this gap. Now there on one hand we have these unorganized, very local players, and on the other hand we have organized but very expensive premium dry cleaners. So there was a lot of gap in the middle, and that's exactly what we tried, to address. Now, if you look at our price list, if you have investment details, if you look at, everything that's related to laundry, and you will see that it has got a very mass appeal. We have got our pricing, appeals to students staying out of hotels, bachelors, PGs, dual income group families. So it's basically, we are trying to address a very mass market. So these were the current gaps that we have been trying to address. I will quickly, also take you through the journey of Laundry Anna. So all this thought process happened somewhere between 2015 December to 2016. We took about a year and a half to finalize a very robust model. We started with an online exclusive aggregator model, just like many other startups which have tried to do this in our industry. But it took roughly about a quarter for us to realize that that model is not going to work, because customers expect on-time delivery, customers expect really, really premium service, customers expect really, really good customer support. And aggregator business is such that you are outsourcing the complete quality control to a third party person. And these people, these players are not exclusive to you. So there is a specific segment that they are catering to by their own users, and you are just kind of adding on to their capacity. It was quick enough to realize that, aggregator model is definitely not going to work. Thankfully, we realized that, because over a period of time, if you would have noticed, a couple of really big names with good funding came in and, shut down their shops within about a year or 1.5, in spite of raising good funds. Different challenges though. So 2016, we set up our own in-house processing unit that typically means that from workers to equipments to space, everything was owned by us, and we had 100% control on the pickup experience, on the delivery experience, the processing, the cleaning, washing, packaging, all of it. 2016 itself, we launched our Android app. And 2018, that's a gap of about 1.5 to 2 years before we actually finalized our business model and converted an online or completely offline to a hybrid business model. So when I say hybrid, what does it mean? It typically means that we have stores where people walk in, and we don't just maybe increase the demand by about 10 or 8% by catering to people who are just calling us. There is a separate sales channel through our online platforms like website and Android app. So that basically, there are stores which are typically doing about 50% of the walk-ins, and we are able to generate equal demand for them through our online channels. So this, we started with a company operated model as a franchisee store in Koramangala, Bangalore. 2017, again, we started a company owned outlet, and that's how we kind of grew up to 12 outlets right now. It was last year, 2019, when we partnered with Quikr, one of the largest classified platforms in our country, to expand via franchising pan India. So the idea was to align with a home services brand to generate the most of exploit the user base that the company has. The company has almost spent a decade in generating that user base. So the idea was to exploit that user base. The idea was to create a more consumer aware brand via co-branding. So that's how we became from Laundry Anna to powered by Quikr Easy. Quikr Easy is the vertical of Quikr that handles the home services, which we are a part of. So I'm sure we would have already have questions from few of the users. Is Quikr Quikr has bought us, Quikr has acquired us, or are we a different vertical of Quikr? So to address this, obviously there were a few media reports claiming that Quikr has acquired Laundry Anna. No, it was not an acquisition. No, we are not a subsidiary of Quikr. It's a strategic partnership between two brands to align our goals and become a market leader in this industry. So I'll just keep it that simple. So in terms of services, we have tried to, address all the services that a household might require. It starts from a very basic service like steam press, only wash and fold, which typically appeals to a lot of, people who don't need their clothes to be ironed. And then obviously washing and ironing service, and there is premium dry cleaning as well. So if you see our service catalog covers from your local neighborhood iron walla to a top, dry cleaner. You don't really need to move out of the platform irrespective of what service you are looking at. And these are just the retail services. We also provide our services to, B2B, to businesses as well. So there are spas, there are hotels, hospitals, and restaurants who also use our services. Obviously, the same services that are mentioned above. Again, the question comes, I mean, there are many players, there are so many outlets running. What makes you different, or why should I consider you, not looking at somebody else? That's another question that might pop up in the, people's mind. So our biggest strength right now is the massive user base that we have right now. Now, we are backed by Quikr, which boasts of a user base of more than 50 million. Now that's a hell lot of users, if you ask me. Any company would go crazy over volume of users like that, and it takes a lot of time, and not to ignore the funds that you need to spend in generating a user base like this. And this is the user base which exactly overlaps with our target audience. Obviously, we are here with a very, very rich experience in setting up and running our own outlets. From the team is qualified enough from your space layout planning, selection of machines, all of it. I mean, we have been there, we have done that. So that doesn't leave any iota of doubt that we have a good experience in setting up and obviously running a day-to-day business. We are not a tech platform. We are a hardcore laundry business operators. Now, other than having offline, this is one of the challenges that I had initially discussed. That setting up a store, okay, you got a shop, you set up a service, you have decent machines, you have a good manpower. Now, the biggest challenge that I think businesses face, including the franchisee brands, is demand generation. On a platform business, on a platform services, this is always a challenge. You have one side of the platform where you have sufficient supply to cater to, but not really sufficient demand. To generate more sales, I think, is one of the most common question that businesses, any kind of businesses, irrespective of the industry, will face. How to generate more sales? It's a $1 million question that most of the small, big, large corporations face. Now, to address that, we have a very robust online platform to generate user demand from the users. Obviously, we also push it through different digital, marketing campaigns, and we have complete online and offline marketing support. So you really don't have to figure out, you don't really have to hire freelancers or agencies, or you don't even have to do it yourself to run your digital campaigns, to run your FB, Insta, campaigns. We take care of this completely. There is another industry challenge that people face in laundry industry is that we don't have tech platforms ready as a solution that can be sold to businesses. For example, today I plan to start a restaurant. Within a day, I can buy point of sale software with update my menu and start billing online right away within a matter of 24 hours, or probably even lesser than that. Now, laundry, that's not the case. You have a very few platforms which enable your billing, customer management and operations management, but not fitting the requirement of most of the Indian users, or not fitting the requirement of the new models that are coming to the market, like online deliveries, pickups, and wallet recharge, prepaid, etc. So we have that. It took us, our product is refined and based on business requirements. We have one of the best products I can claim to, have one of the best products in the industry to take care of completely on, your digital and, offline presence and billing and all of it, your customer relationship management, your, loyalty programs, etc. All of it. And this is one of the best platforms available in the country. I can bet on that. And not just, not just the operations part of it. We have a centralized call center for pan-India, plans. So our centralized call center team takes care of all of it. So as a franchisee owner, you really don't have to be available on phone, always. There's a good number of people who don't really actively participate in the operations and leave it to their staff. So you really don't have to be available on phone always. We have a centralized customer support team, which takes care of all the issues from the customers and then liaison with the store staff for any kind of grievances or any kind of issues that come up with. At the same time, we also have a dedicated franchisee support as well. So these are the basic, few of the advantages that you have, which kind of defines and differentiates us from any other player in the industry. I'll, quickly take you to the benefits of, franchising with us. Among organized brands, I think, we have the lowest franchisee fee among all the organized brands. The offline and the online support, the marketing support, the lead generation, the demand generation support that you get is completely taken care by us. So offline, obviously, a bit of it is hyper local and has to be taken care by the franchisee. But in terms of online, completely taken care by us. We provide you a 15-day setup completion of the outlet. You give us the space, we will make sure that it goes up and running in 15 days. Obviously, few parts of it are dependent on external factors like availability of equipments, imports, etc. But 90% of the outlets that we have set up till now, we have set up in like almost less than 15 days. We have a dedicated support for customers and franchisee partners, of course, as I previously covered. We also take care of complete ownership. Now that's the beautiful part. Now, when you have a product like this, with the, sudden boom in digital payments, in online payments, people wanting to, pay through digital wallets and credit cards, net banking. With a product like us, you don't really have to do anything. You have your POS, log in, start creating orders, everything else is taken care of. And that is something that our tech team handles at the back end. We have very low setup costs, which ensures that the return on investment is pretty quick. We take care of the complete branding. Now, this is something that most of the franchise brands who are into franchising take care of it. So to be honest, nothing special about it. We take care of the complete branding and store creatives. And yeah, obviously, it's not just about the setup. Going forward, any procurement, we have centralized tie-ups with different brands in different spaces that are negotiated to get the best deals, be it the detergents, the cleaning chemicals, the equipments, the servicing of these equipments. We have negotiated deals with all the major suppliers, which ensures that you get priority support, you get a good deal on the spares, on the servicing, on your regular supplies. So these are the benefits that I can quickly, come up with for the franchisees. Now, if you look at obviously this is one question that's on the top of everybody's mind. How much does it cost? So obviously this is a quick snapshot. You can place in your, excuse me, just a second, please. Excuse me, sorry for the delay. So obviously this is just a quick snapshot. You can drop in, your inquiries and your email. You can leave your emails and our team will contact you with a detailed, breakup about the costing, the ROI and the complete model. This pitch, a part of this presentation can also be emailed along with the company profile. So a couple of you might have this question and might want a copy of this presentation. Yes, you can have a copy of the complete brochure that we'll be sharing with you. Now, if you look, our investment typically starts at around 11 to 12 lakhs. This is the low cost model. If you see, there are two different models, low cost and premium, and there is express laundromat and area hub. I'll quickly, explain you what an express laundromat would do. It's typically cater to a radius of about 2 to 4 kilometers, and the area hub would typically have an area of about like 500 square feet and cater to about 6 to 7 kilometers, with about up to 65 to 70% revenues being generated online. Between these, both the models, express laundromat and area hub, you have a choice of the machines that you use. Now, there are different options being given to all of our franchisees in terms of the equipment. So that's completely dependent on your budget, that the space that you have, the kind of, many other factors like availability of power, the drainage, etc. There are multiple options that we provide. So roughly starts from around 12 up to like 15 or 15 lakhs in a express laundromat model, and for an area hub, which would typically do about maybe 70% more revenues than an express laundromat, would start from around 18 lakhs and go up to about 23 to 24 lakhs. So this is the rough costing. Obviously, this is very we have tried to make it the closest approximate values. Obviously, a lot of few parts of it also depends a lot on the condition of the outlet. If the front facade needs to be taken care of, there's a lot of exterior work to be done over there. What is the current import duty, the transport, the location where you're importing the machines, the transport, etc. Very minor, not really a major deflection from these approximates. So guys, this bring me to the end of my presentation. I hope I haven't taken much time. We'll quickly move to Gaurav and Gaurav sir and Sonia ma'am. Sir, all over to you.
Thanks, Prateek. It's a lovely presentation, and thank you for joining us for this special webinar series. We, in these series, are trying to bring in brands which we feel have, I would say, no impact or even positively impacted with the current times going on. And you certainly are one of the industries which we feel have a great opportunity because now, in this current times, especially when you're scared about using services, people would like to use branded services and services which would give not only better service capabilities, but a lot of hygiene, a lot of safety, and so on and so forth. For very, very long period, this whole industry of laundry has been very unorganized, and we had all shape, size, structures running in, and which means that people would pick up from your home and go and wash somewhere and then deliver back to you. You had no idea how your clothes were treated, who was dealing with your clothes, and so on and so forth. And I feel that now people would like to see what is happening to their clothes. They are much in control, and as you said, much better user experience and so on and so forth. So I should say you are positively impacted industry. There will be a lot of shift of people who do not trust these independent dhobis, which I call, and they would shift to more organized players like you. And if you see a little bit of example in other mature markets, and we don't have to go and see mature when we say Europe or US, and even if I go Southeast Asia and I see smaller cities like Jakarta, Jakarta is a big city, but it's smaller countries are countries which are developing nations. Jakarta would have maybe 15,000 laundromats only in Jakarta city. So our penetration in India is very, very low. I mean, we have only a bigger opportunity. Every neighborhood, every single corner, we would need to have maybe a branded laundromat and things like that. So you are a great brand. So I will start with a couple of questions which are very important, and then I'll pass it on to Sonia to lead the discussion. The three things which are very important for me in any franchising, which is what I call predictability, scalability, and sustainability. I see your business has obviously sustainability because it's a low cost business model. It doesn't have too much of inventories. It's a service business model and so on and so forth. I also see that scalability because scalability in a business, which is a value business, you can scale to any number. But I want to really understand a little bit on the predictability, especially in challenging times. All our investors are very keen to know how companies are going to support them, especially in these times where businesses can be low. And because we see this big brand which you co-integrated quicker with you, what kind of real support in customer acquisition really comes from your side, which brings in some predictability in performance of these stores? So that's one question from my side, and then I'll pass it on to Sonia to lead it.
I mean, if you look at from the predictability, part. So obviously, as I told you, that the a major intent behind this brand integration was exploiting each other's user database. Now, our industry as such has been selling convenience for the longest time. So And as I was just explaining you, briefing you before this, like we just started our services today, and the response from our users has been phenomenal. As in being a Monday, people walking, the number of orders that we have received have almost reached one of our, peak busiest day on a normal, month would have been. That's one. Now, obviously, in terms of user generation, the demand generation, that's where I believe is one of our a very strong point that we have. There had been, I'll just, quickly give you real, very actual real life scenarios. Uh, with a small, activity as small as an in-app notification on the user's app has generated us, sales probably not even 3 months of digital marketing we as an independent brand would have done. So that's the, predictably that we expect with this, integration. I really have no doubt in this offline and online, convergence which both of our brands are trying to do right now. So I think
So
that's
in
really the.
sales term, what kind of sales numbers, say your small model to this area hub, what kind of sales numbers monthly you can do? It will give a good idea to our
Yeah, so if we bring it to the top line, our smallest laundromat would typically about maybe 3 washers and just a stack dryers would typically do hit a top line of about 3.6 to 3.7 lakhs on the best months, and the worst ones being somewhere about 3.1, 3.2. And these models which typically generate about 1.6, 1.7 lakhs on, walk-ins, and the same equivalent, market share from the online model as well, from the in-app and the, web panel. And on such revenues, I think easily about 1.25, 1.3 lakhs is the, net profit, EBITDA income that, all of our franchises are currently recording. This is the average of all of our existing outlets that I'm talking about. So these are not just guesstimates or approximates. These are the actual revenues that we are already doing at our outlets. An area hub typically does a little better than an express, outlet in terms of the walk-ins. Maybe about like say about 120% of an express hub. But in terms of online, since we are giving them a little larger, territory protection, that does about 60 to 65% revenues from the online model, and roughly clocks in about 5.3, 5.4 lakhs with a net margin of about say 2.4, 2.3 times.
So you would also, because now I think it will be also great opportunity, because I think most of the service businesses, retail service businesses, had issue of real estate, and now with real estate, I think it'll soften down. A lot of would be available out there, and we also have another attendee of ours who's already on the call from Remax. Remax is world's largest real estate broking.
Yes,
So we have invited them to be part of that, so they can also help you with getting real estate. So with real estate going down, your performance would also improve.
Yeah, of course. I mean, right now we have, there are no takers in the market. So right now, I think it's a very, very good opportunity. With the real estate cost cutting down, there are, builders, there are landlords trying to fill up the space, if you see, and, ready to negotiate on better deals for the, leases. So I think this is a wonderful opportunity, and I think we should exploit this to the best. I mean, as I was just telling Sonia ma'am before this, that we have already been using this time to zero in on some wonderful locations in the city. How much ever we could exploit the online platforms, and we are just waiting to close in on these, spaces once we are able to visit, these places. So this, of course, I mean, rightly mentioned by you, this is wonderful opportunity to zero in down on the real estate cost, and that obviously would improve the overall profitability of the store, because your pricing remains the same, your operational cost remains the same, equipment cost has actually come down a bit. There are people who are ready to offer you EMI. There are, distributors who are ready to offer you some financial assistance to break it over a period of time, the, payments that they would initially ask for a full payment even before they order, the machine to be imported. Right. So from those times, people have come down to, pay at 25% right now and remaining over a period of time. Now, obviously, we as a brand have also given a personal guarantee to these, say in case if there is an option where franchisees probably want in some leverage in terms of, payback on the machines, we as a brand have negotiated with very few distributors wherein we take a liability as a company, because obviously multiple factors come along with that, multiple restrictions. But yes, so right now your equipment cost has come down, operations cost is going to be the same, your real estate cost is coming down, your pricing remains the same. And I see a lot of people, a new set of users coming in and starting outsourcing their laundry, because there is a lot of concerns, because I keep on talking to a lot of customers. We have used this time to educate the customers on the impacts of COVID, on our industry. And I see a lot of curiosity among the users that, guys, I think it's going to be better if, we give it outside, because obviously, this is very susceptible to heat. Now, everybody knows that we use commercial dryers, which goes up to 70 to 80 degrees. So there's a whole set of new users, probably people who wouldn't have ever outsourced their daily laundries to an outside player would start doing that now. So combined with all these factors, I'm 100% confident that it's a wonderful opportunity that needs to be exploited by the players right now.
Sure, sure. So I think we have many questions coming in. Sonia, you would like to start?
Am I audible? I think I lost in between a bit.
Loud and clear, ma'am. Loud and clear.
I'd like to start. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Prateek ji. It was wonderful interacting. I think before the session started, we were kind of chatting with each other, and I was happy to hear, it was an optimistic opening when the markets opened up today. Just to reiterate, we have a lot of our listeners on the call, and in the benefit, and I was just going through a lot of questions they have asked, and I had few questions which I'm sure would benefit everybody today about the kind of options they're looking, and they're looking at a little bit of classes which are defensive asset classes, where the risk is less. And that's the reason we picked up certain opportunities that we felt were the opportunities that our listeners or our business buyers could perhaps locate through us. And I feel there are 5 things which people look at, which is sustainability of the system, scalability is one thing, and also the demand, how big the demand is, which you talked about, and more importantly, the value of investment that people are looking at, which is low investment opportunity. People don't want to be investing big time at this. Okay, is there still a hello? Am I audible now?
Yes, parts and parcel, but
hello?
It gets distorted somewhere in between.
Okay, I think. Okay. So I'll just say, so because you are a tech-enabled company, and a lot of these old school fashion industries have not incorporated technology. While today all businesses become a tech business. For a business like yours, I feel there are 3 things which are very important, and I call it CCD, which is collection, cleaning, and delivery. So what difference as a brand you foresee, Anna Laundry would create for its end consumers and also for the franchisee to facilitate the business?
So just to add, I think Sonia is trying to say that how technology is embedded in your business, and how from collection to delivery you are integrated, and all this is done efficiently with technology being now in place. So anything which you want to add on the technology part of it?
Yeah. So the product wise, as I was mentioning that, so typically I'll tell you the life cycle of an order, typically how it works with, other players. People, maybe they have a web form, or maybe they have an app where people put in their orders, give your time. You send your person, people call up, support in case if there's an issue. Then you come, you generate a bill, you process it, you deliver it back. Now we are also doing the same, but it's just that with other players, these processes are not connected. So basically a customer does not know who is the pickup boy assigned. A customer does not know when the boy is going to come.
Connection.
Yeah,
right. A franchisee owner does not know when that particular order is received at the outlet. He does not know is the washing in process. This is I'm talking about remotely managing your business. And when you generate a business, obviously you will ask your customers, send them the Paytm QR code, your, any other QR code for digital payments. With us, it's a whole integrated suite. I mean, from the time a customer logs in into your system, and from the time this order is delivered, everything is tracked across the whole universe of, multiple products that we have. Customer app, there is this delivery boy app, there is this hub manager app, there is a franchisee app login, there is a master admin login, call center login. So all these products are so widely, connected that everything is, just a matter of seconds for the customer to get an update. You log into the app and you can actually see that your order is ready, your link is generated. You just have to make the online payment. And that helps in the whole operational efficiency from a franchisee's point of view, from us as a business owner's point of view, and from the customer point of view. You don't really have to come out of a meeting to make that call to the call center कि भैया मैं आज शाम को आ रही हूँ, मेरे कपड़े आ पाएंगे नहीं आ पाएंगे, right? You can see the product, the order updates right there. And obviously adding to that, we have prepaid wallet recharges, where we as a brand offer up to 20% more to the users, and that does not impact the profitability of the franchisee at all. Franchisee still gets to keep the top line, and we as a brand offer you wallet recharges. Say if you recharge for X amount, you get 20% X, and that has been completely funded by us as a brand, just to make sure that the user sticks to our services, to increase the repeat rate from users. Laundry is something you don't change players very often unless you might have done something to irritate a customer. Maybe some damages or delay in the delivery, which is also a smaller part and parcel of the business. But to make sure that your customers keep on coming to you, we as a platform take these steps. And all this is possible only because of the tech backend that we have developed.
Very helpful. Thank you very much. So another quick important question,
That's
which
really
I think
helpful.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sonia.
Yeah. One question, because I see some people asking about the business model, if it is FOCO or the kind. And I'm seeing, especially in the last 1.5 years, a lot of this, educated lot ITians, who are coming, who are taking up as franchisees. Recently, I was reading there's a company in US, called Rinza, and it is started by a Harvard graduate. So I see a lot of, people from these backgrounds coming in, not only opening, but even the franchisee profiling in this particular category is changing. And what, according to you, is the kind of people that you would want in a what franchisee? I see somebody who's also looking at a FOCO, which means he doesn't want to operate, but he just wants to invest and run. So if you can give a little bit of understanding of what you expect from a franchisee and who your ideal profile is.
Yeah, adding on to this also is that FOCO is one people are looking at, and also are you open for doing area franchise or a master franchise?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we are open to, master franchising in most of the parts of the country. That's one. Now, if you, coming back to Sonia Ma'am's question, ideal, profile. Ideal profile for us as a brand would be somebody doesn't really need to be there, because it's not just franchising, it's an assisted business that we are giving them. As I told you, the core, the core operations like call center, centralized procurement, design, branding, all of us is being taken care by us. Even if a person wants to do a typical full day job, we have done it. We have managed, I as an individual managed all 6 of my outlets initially without having any supporting team, at a very initial stage when we were just growing, right? So a person who is working full time can actually easily manage, after probably a month or 2, you don't really need to go to your store every day. The solutions that we give you, allow you to manage your business remotely. And since the core, operations of running a business are already being handled by us, that support is already being provided by us, you really don't have to bother कि ये last week मेरा sales अच्छा नहीं हुआ, अभी मेरे को digital marketing में push करना है. My team is already tracking that this store in this particular city, इनका last, month इतना अच्छा नहीं गया, चलो यहाँ पे अभी अपने को we have to do a digital marketing boost, or we do have to, they will call you, they will reach out to you saying that, I think you guys need a offline marketing, you need a hyper local approach to your marketing this month. And I've got people who are working in a typical IT job, 9 to 6 types, and managing 2 of my stores in Bangalore remotely. Obviously, a lot of it also depends on your selection of manpower who works at the store. But yeah, it's pretty much possible if you're looking at a semi-passive investment kind of model where you don't really, have to sit at the outlet on a daily basis. And we would actually encourage our franchisees to do that, because the whole reason people want to get into entrepreneurship is to let these things go. So I would encourage my franchisees to actually do that. You guys don't really need to sit at the store throughout the day. Consider other opportunities, open up more outlets if you want. One person can easily manage 4 to 5 outlets easily. Now, coming to the company operated model, yes, we are open to a company operated model as well, but that comes with certain restrictions. Like we would need the master franchisee to sign up for at least 4 or 5 minimum outlets so that it becomes viable for us as a business to set up a whole operations team to manage that particular, cluster of stores. So yes, company operated model is available, but with a certain, restrictions, with a certain conditions.
So thank you. Very valuable. But I have a little view on this what I call absentee franchisee. And while I appreciate that you have a good sport and good structure to help franchisees, but I would say the whole purpose of franchising going forward is going to be having operators, people who would work and look after their businesses. I mean, obviously they can learn and look after doing multiple units and so forth. But I kind of don't agree. I'm still very old school in that sense that people can make money for you and you don't have to move out. So there is not many businesses I know who do that, and only passive investments do that. Active investments, you have to work. And if you're making a decision, this is for our attendees, if you're making a decision to get into a franchise, it would need your time. There is nothing which can skip your time unless and until you put your time. While companies give you great support, but I always advise our investors that they should always be ready to put their own time, and then only your businesses would succeed. So a little bit, I have always felt that it is important for us to really, because sometimes we see a lot of people getting into a franchise, which they think that just buying a franchise would make them money. It doesn't happen like that. It never happens like that. And so another question I have for you is, who is your competition? What is your competition today? How you are better by price advantage? You obviously talk about a lot of user experience advantage and a lot of other things, but I would like to know a price advantage, because there's a question somebody has put that a lot of other companies in the laundry space, especially in Bangalore and South India, are there. Who's your competition? How you are better than them from a price advantage, or you're same, or you expensive? What is your price strategy?
See, so if you look at the combination of having a business model with the right tech, with the right branded partner on board, and with the right pricing, I think we are way ahead of any other player, in the industry right now. Yes, I'm not denying that there are no larger players as yet. Yes, there are players with more, store presence than us. There are players who might be doing more online orders, than us. But then again, if you have to score them on the basis of all the points that I mentioned, and obviously pricing also plays an important role. I told this very initially, at the beginning of our presentation, that the idea was to fill up that market gap between an unorganized player and a top-notch dry cleaner. So our pricing and the whole business model, if you see, has got a very mass appeal to it. So while yes, there are competitors out there, but the advantage that we have with the mix of the points that I just mentioned in terms of the right tech, the right partner on board, and the right model and the right pricing. So I think as an aggregate of all these points, we are pretty much ahead of our competitors who are maybe bigger in terms of their retail presence or in terms of their nationwide presence. But yes, as a business, that makes us pretty unique and different from any of our competitors for that matter.
And price-wise,
price-wise, so we are just maybe a 10 or 15% premium to your local neighborhood shops. And in spite of that, we generate good profitability. And we are probably somewhere about 40% cheaper than your top, all those brands who deal with premium dry cleaning.
Okay. Sonia, your question?
I think I was seeing some questions, one important question which I see some of our listeners asking is on the location, because this particular product or service is not dependent on a premium location. You need to be in the neighborhood location.
Correct.
So what kind of locations would you advise for prospective franchisees? Second is the kind of cities this format would work. I see one of our investors asking if Guntur and locations of these sort or cities of these sort is a good bet to start a business like this.
Okay, so at locations,
what Sonia said, now there is a lot of captive locations also. Say a big township with say
correct.
families.
Exactly.
Are you looking for captive locations? And your business is also carrying some institutional work also, which means restaurants, hotels, hospitals. Is that also can be catered from your current business?
So in terms of the retail, services that we have, we basically have three sub verticals. One obviously deals with the, offline retail outlets. Then we also have, addressing the captive audience. We have a model wherein we set up an in-house, facility within the residential community, within the campus of the, premises of the, community. That's been working out little, quite well for us because, we have zero spends on marketing. We have a very, very captive audience with a very, very good repeat rate. You have people who use your service maybe 5 or 6 or 10 times, in a year. And then obviously people use your ironing and washing service. Then obviously you also generate those chunk of dry cleaning revenue that people might have, given ironing to a local, their neighborhood dollar shop, and dry cleaning they prefer the other players, the more organized players. So we typically cater to all of them. So that's one. In terms of the retail, presence, retail, physical location of the outlets, we wouldn't really, take up high street areas. This is, as Gaurav sir rightly mentioned, this is more of a, neighborhood business. So we typically look at areas which have got high density of PGs, high density of residential communities. So these are the kind of areas that work well. Not really, it necessarily doesn't have to be on the main market road. It can be maybe a street inside where maybe there's the entrance of a, PG hub inside, or a residential community inside, group of apartments there. So these are the kind of locations that works the best for us. That ensures that you don't really pay a very high premium rentals. Your deposits are less, you get facilities of drainage, etc. Considering all those, these are the kind of locations that works the best in our business.
Very helpful, Prateek. I think we will take few more questions because we have a lot of questions coming in by investors. Sonia, you want to take them questions?
We can do that very quickly. In fact, these are one of questions which people are asking, and I'll take one by one. The very first question is there any kind of minimum guarantee in terms of the sales or the business which the company is providing?
I mean, see, we as a brand are fully committed to, provide you insights of the business. Obviously, I'm not sure any other brand too does that. Minimum guarantee is something which we, it's not how to actually put it forward. That's not the right thing to expect from a brand, I would say. We are providing you everything: data insights, user base, business model, for you to make an informed choice. Now, minimum guarantee is something that is applicable in a certain cases on really higher ticket transactions, like somebody wants to invest in a whole city altogether. Then there are some parts that we see. But if we look at a typical unit franchisee, a franchisee owned and franchisee operated, then yes, no. But we help you gain a lot of traction even before you launch your store. So
Great. I agree to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question on linking on this is, if I have to put, a worst case scenario, and it's very important in worst case scenario, what are the risks you think the investor would have, and what are the 2 or 3 things can happen for the failure? So we should keep something in mind that if this was not right, or this was not right, or this was not right, you can fail in this business, because we have.
So I mean, sir, I will I think a good answer to that would be exactly my mindset when we started our first laundromat. I still distinctly remember the questions that I had in my mind at that time. कि यार कर तो रहे हैं, अभी तक ऑनलाइन किया है, अभी ऑफलाइन करेंगे, चलेगा नहीं चलेगा, इतने सारे प्लेयर्स हैं. One thing I knew for sure, my most of the investment is into assets. साला मशीन कोई तो खरीद ही लेगा. I mean, I'm talking about the worst, since I'm going to the very worst of that. I knew कि मशीन तो कोई खरीद ही लेगा मेरा. Everything, कंप्यूटर मेरा यूज हो ही जाएगा, फर्नीचर मेरा यूज हो ही जाएगा. So I knew that I would not lose more than 20-25% of my money that I was putting in there. So that is the worst, but worst with us becomes still pretty good. All I can say is that if you're expecting your complete money back in like, 12 or 13 months, that may be extended to like 16 or 18 months. That's the worst with us. If you are there with us, because there are multiple, there are actually n number of possibilities in which we can help. Maybe diverting some of the revenue of any other outlet, which might be, over capacity. We might divert all those. There are multiple, combinations in which we can help a franchisee. So the worst with us is still a very safe bet for any of the investors.
Thank you. That's very helpful, because we should always give a very transparent overview to investors. And I will encourage some of our investors can actually reach you and talk to your existing franchisees, see your sales performance, because I feel when they're confident on what they're getting into and they put their own, I think they would go a long term with you and probably become much more successful partners going forward. Sonia, next question.
Sonia, I'm sorry, there's a issue with the voice.
Maybe adding to that, because franchisees, when they sign, they look at a lot of support. Okay.
So I think Sonia's voice is not clear. So there's another question which somebody has asked, Mr. Krishna has asked, that B2B, B2C and B2B, both businesses you do out of the same 250 square feet, and how do you maximize? It must be the timing you would break, because in the day you might do retail business and evening you might do entire thing. If you would like to explain how you split B2B and B2C business.
Correct. So that's a very operations, questions. Yes. So as rightly mentioned by you, this is one of the things that we do. So initially the idea is that we get you what we can do, as simple as that. So we have a support in terms of different other outlets. We have our own centralized processing if you have committed. Now the problem, one of the good parts and the bad part with B2B businesses is that they need deliveries instantly. A hotel gives you their laundry in the morning, they would expect it back by the next morning, right? They don't keep a lot of inventory of their, hotel linen. So yes, that's one of the things that we do. We, hire extra manpower and they run it in the night, do a second shift to process that particular laundry. And then obviously we also have enough, we keep, whenever we plan an outlet, we always keep space for, maybe to increase your load by around 25 to 40% more. This is a part of our, planning of an outlet. We would ensure that we suggest you the right equipments, which makes, in case if your demand grows more than what we had anticipated, there was always be a space reserved for your another machine over there.
Excellent. So another question which somebody has is that obviously they're asking of particular Hyderabad, but I would say that how do you do, is there some analytic you've done on geographical locations which would give what kind of volume it can do? Because now you have also with now added to that, how strong is your partnership with Quikr? I understand this is a kind of a licensing structure they have done with you, but how long that relationship is. I mean, the risk the investor can have is that because at this stage they might come with all the support looking like coming from Quikr, and tomorrow say Quikr is not there, how you would be ready to handle that, and how strong this relationship with Quikr is.
I mean, I would say at this point in time, it's pretty strong, but then these are strategic agreements that we are talking about, right? So nobody assures you a lifetime validity to any agreement for sure. I think a good part of the thought process should go into the growth of the brand before this partnership happened. So that would answer and instill a lot of confidence in the investors that irrespective of whether it's a subsidiary brand partnership is there or not, Laundry Anna as a brand independently has grown at a very rapid pace. So that instills a good confidence. Most of our franchisee closures we did before we partnered with Quikr. So that as an independent player, it's not that we are diluting our brand value in case if we are not aligned to Quikr or any other. So I'm not saying that it's a lifetime partnership. Tomorrow there is a good possibility that we might, maybe for city based, we might partner with a brand that is strong in that particular zone or a city. You never know. There is a XYZ home services company which we might partner with, in the north part or the west part of the country. So yes, I mean, and that as a business does not really impact us, if you see. And in terms of the decision on the geographies, yes, we have, as I told you, that we are sitting on a lot of data in terms of the demand being generated from specific pin codes. Not even if we don't have a services there, other services like home services, electricians, plumbers, which overlaps with most of our target audience. So we have the data available with us, which allows us to take informed decisions on finalizing on any particular location or area for that matter.
Great. Sonia, I see you back. Would you like to ask any questions, we can.
One question that I was asking was, we talked about your model being a hybrid model where a lot of inquiries come online through the app and coming directly to you as a company, and you also have franchisees operating in certain neighborhoods. How do you propose to support franchisees where these inquiries come directly to you from a specific pin code where certain operators or franchisees, come together? What support is given to them? Is it over and above the inquiries which they get organic?
No.
How
So
would you
very,
help
very, very,
them?
very good question. I mean, that also brings us to the topic of territory protection. So again, tech at the back end, what typically happens is, I'll not really go deep down into the tech part, but whenever we sign up a new franchisee, we assign a particular geographical area on Google Maps for them. So we basically, geofencing is done for that particular store. Every time a user requests for a pickup, irrespective of the medium he comes in, and I repeat, irrespective of the medium he comes in, it could be through our digital campaign, it could be through an organic person who was just looking out for a laundry service, or it could be from our third party lead generation platforms that we tie up with. Irrespective of that, if that particular user has updated his location within your geofence area, that without any manual intervention directly comes into your dashboard. As simple as that.
Great. I think that's helpful. Also in these times, a lot of companies are resetting their store structure, which means the cost, the occupancy cost, and also maybe the kind of expenditure they're making on the people working in the store. Mm-hmm. So we have a question, where one gentleman wants to understand the kind of operating expenses he would need to put in for the initial 2 or 3 months time. What is that he needs to have, and what kind of expenses would the outlet incur for maybe smooth operations?
So after the setup,
adding to that, because we are running short on time, is there a special offer you're going to give in these times, because a lot of franchisees would like to invest, but they don't probably have liquidity issue. So would you have some kind of structure to give some relaxation on payment cycles on at least the franchise fees? I know equipment you also have to outsource, and you said there is a loan facility also available, but would you like to give something which people, if they decide in the month of May, would they get some benefit of payment cycles?
Well, thought and done. Some flexibility as a company, we are ready to show in terms of whatever is within control, of us as an organization. In addition to that, not just that, we have also spoken, to the some of the best appliances, distributors pan India, and yes, we are on the verge of finalizing a deal with 2 of them, which will ensure that the equipments will be provided at some roughly about, say, maybe I'm talking about not that we have not finalized on the numbers, but could be anytime between 25 to 50%, and the remaining payable over a period of time. It could be 4 months, it could be 6 months at no extra cost. There is no interest applicable on it. It's just a goodwill that we as a brand, so there's one benefit of working with brands, right? I mean, people are open to negotiation with you. People trust you as a brand, and people are open to negotiation. So as just a goodwill gesture between all these our regular suppliers and us, we are offering this to our franchisees as well, just to pay a part of the equipment cost right now, and later on they can repay over a fixed tenure, for which an agreement will be done and signed by both the parties. So that's the kind of relaxation that we have planned from our end.
Very helpful. And another question which somebody has asked, which is very valid, what is the geographical location? You give some exclusivity on some kilometer radius?
Yes. So the same geofencing that I was talking about, that's one. And in terms of I can't really stop a user from traveling to a specific outlet, so that really does not cover up here. But in terms of online, yes, we do give you a territory protection. I wouldn't really give you it in the number of kilometers, like a 5 kilometer radius or a 2 or a 3 or 4 kilometer radius. Yes, we typically like to stick at about 4 kilometers, because more than that it becomes operationally challenging for you to operate in a crowded city like Hyderabad, Chennai, Mumbai or Delhi. It becomes very difficult for you to cover more than that during the peak traffic times. Depending upon that, a classic example would be, so I have 2 outlets on one part of, I'm not sure how many people are aware with the Silport Junction in Bangalore. So one of my outlets is on 1 kilometer of either side of this junction, and both the outlet owners don't want to cross the junction and pick up orders from the other area, because they know they're going to be stuck in traffic for almost 45 minutes during the peak. So that way we have reduced from this part and increased their territory on the other part, right? So it's on a case-to-case basis, but if you have to take a rough guidance, I would say roughly about 4 kilometers territory protection, and that's auto geofence. So any online orders coming from that area are automatically assigned to the franchisee.
Sure. So we already done 1 hour, and I think the questions are still pouring in. We would not be able to take all the questions. So now you want to have some last question for Prateek?
Yeah, I would, maybe I'll take it from the audience. I have a request from one of the audience, Parin, who wants us to extend for another half an hour. Unfortunately, we can't do that, because we have another webinar scheduled. What we can do is we can have everybody coming on a one-on-one call, and we cannot take all these questions independently. The last question, I think, if not covered, if I've not missed, is on the ROI and the break-even, which investors are also asking about. What kind of break-even an outlet can expect? How long does it take for an outlet to get a break-even? Second, and considering the times that we are in, do you foresee a delay in the ROI, the investment being made by the investor? Is there a delay being forecasted, or you see the times are good, with today's maybe the experience that you had? What do you have to forecast for that?
So see, couple of things so there are basically 2 factors that impact this. Few things which we know for sure, few things which are unsure of as of yet. Something which we are sure of is your rentals are going to come down, your equipment costs is going to come down. Something we are not sure of is whether the user demand is going to stay the same, or it's going to reduce a bit, or it's going to increase a bit. I mean, we are very hopeful that it's going to actually increase with the, focus on hygiene a lot. I think the demand is going to focus to the extent that, this week we had been negotiating a deal with Bangalore Airport, and Bangalore Airport wants us to set up an outlet in their premises to make sure that, all their staff uniforms, all the aviation, airlines staff uniforms, so that they can certify saying that all of our people who are wearing their uniforms are being certified, hygienically washed from this particular player. So that's the impact that we have on this industry, and that the focus that people are going to have, have on hygiene. So I think even if we see a slight dip in the, volume from your regular sources, with the dip in your rentals and equipment, cost, I think it's going to balance out. I don't really see any impact on my ROI, and I really don't see any impact on the situation beyond 3 or 4 months. Right. And of course, after that, we are going to go even more aggressive on our, marketing plans. Our best store would have done somewhere about 13 to 14 months. That was our company owned store, which we took out our money in like about 13th month. And the least performing store took it in about 17 to 18 months is the rough thing. So anything less than, I think, in any case, I don't see the ROI being less than, 2 years is the maximum that I foresee. With a decent, if the franchisee involvement is very good in the initial few months, and after that, if they go slightly passive is a different thing. But as Gaurav sir rightly mentioned, so that's the point. Even I was gonna, kind of put in at that point in time. Initially, your involvement is very much required just to make sure that the SOPs and everything is being processed, followed properly. So 12 to 13 months, good cases, 16 to 18 months, worst cases is what I foresee as the, payback period.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Great.
It's very valuable.
Just about
yeah, go ahead, sir.
Sure. Just about the sales, you talked about the ROI. What is the anticipated, the low side and the high side of sales, a particular outlet, the throughput from an outlet that can be expected?
So depending upon the model, so let me talk about, Express Laundromat. The worst outlet in the worst of the month would have done somewhere about 1.6, 1.5. And the best of the month, I think they would have gone somewhere about 3.4, which obviously these outlets have a little slightly more, geographical area, but they have gone somewhere about 3.6, 3.7 lakhs as well. And this I'm talking about only about the Express Laundromats, not the area hubs.
All right, great. I think we've kind of covered most of the questions.
And
which,
most of these revenue that I'm talking about does not consider the fact that by the end of month, May month, we are also coming up with bags, shoes, carpets, and sofa dry cleaning services.
Great. Prateek, I have people still asking questions. One last question, coming back to the kind of sales, because somebody says it is less, it is high. What, according to you, should be a break even, for maybe a smaller format of yours? Okay. And it is subjective, because we'll have different locations with different rentals, different occupancy cost and businesses coming in. But if we have to take a benchmark, what benchmark would you give to the
See,
listeners?
our fixed costs are only rent and the initial manpower. You don't start
Right.
with a large team, right?
Correct.
Our fixed costs are only these two. Anything variable in terms of the power, the gas consumed, chemicals, detergents, any of it is completely dependent on the load factor that you generate. What we have seen in our express laundromats, you touch about 90, 95,000, 1 lakh, and you're good to go. You are not putting money from your pocket. And there hasn't been any outlets other than the first month. There hasn't been any outlet which had been in operating loss from the second month onwards. Something that we boast about is that if you launch in the first week of the month, we can guarantee that even that month you're not going to lose money from your end. So that's the confidence that we have. Now obviously I do not really claim that it's going to be 100% applicable across all the openings that we do. But taking a gist, just trying to tell you my experience of setting up, the outlets that we have in Bangalore. From the second month, you put in and clock in a revenue of about 1 and you're good to go. Anything above that increases your profit margin by about 70 to 80%.
Great, thanks. I think that was very helpful. So we can't take all the questions. I have somebody who's requesting, can we get the email ID of Mr. Prateek, sir? So I would request if we can have the email ID and also perhaps the website where people can refer to. And I will request, Archana, you're on the call. I think already put that across. If you can have all these listeners on the webinar today, come on a one-on-one call between today and tomorrow, which can be fixed up, based on the availability of all participants. And
sorry to interrupt, Sonia, just a quick follow-up on my previous, I just happened to see somebody, I just happened to see a comment here. So the pricing that the revenues that I have told you is Bangalore specific, because this is the historical revenue that I have. No approximate, no guesses, no projections. These are the actual revenues. Now, obviously, somewhere like Mumbai, where the price itself, the cost of the service itself is about 25 to 30% higher. So if I say 3 lakhs here, that becomes around 44 lakhs automatically in Mumbai. Now, obviously the manpower and the real estate is also going to be expensive over there. So your top line increases, but your percentage of profit margin remains the same. So the same outlet which just 3.5 lakhs in Bangalore would typically be making about 4.85 lakhs in Mumbai.
Okay, that's helpful. The question asked. I think we've kind of covered most of the questions.
Great, Prateek. I think it's been very, very helpful. You've been very kind to come over to address our investors, and we feel that we have three things which are very important for any business we look at. One is the entrepreneur behind any business. So I should congratulate you. You are a very hands-on person. You come all the ranks. You worked hard yourself, and so that has a complete tick mark. And second is the proven business. So you have a proven business. You already have done it. You have stores which are making money. So that's also another tick mark. And the third is the industry, which I think is now getting completely organized. So this is absolutely great time for the laundry business to get completely branded. And I think, so with these three tick marks, I think you are an opportunity which has a lot of potential to hold. We would also advise the investors that maybe sometimes the opportunity is great, but you need to see which location you're starting, assess your financial capability, understand, is this business right for you? And are you available to put the time required for this business? So if yes, then please contact Prateek, and our teams at Franchise India would facilitate that and help you to get to this whole process. If you have questions, as many questions you have, this is a process of learning on an industry and then eventually making a decision to buy it. So there should be never a rush to make that decision. People should go through the whole process of finding out what is right for them and what is the right time for them to invest. So this is a little from my side. And Sonia, your last word, and Prateek, your last word, and then we can conclude the session.
I'd like to thank you, thank you, Mr. Prateek Rana, for, putting this time for all our viewers, and also with our teams at Franchise India. This was extremely insightful for all of us. There were many things which I learned for the very first time from somebody who's hands-on operationally, you're in the business. And I'm sure all our audience on the call had a lot of learnings which came from this last 1.5 hours of our presence and Q&A session. And all that informed response from your end, helps in building a lot of trust and brand affinity, which I feel would start happening, when we're more transparent, both sides, the brand side and more towards our consumer and our franchisee side. So thank you so much. And we look forward to maybe taking up the questions one-on-one with you based on your availability. And Archana would reach out to you for fixing this time. And we have left the email ID and also the website on the chat board, where people can also reach out to you. And we'll also update you. We are live on Facebook, and we also see many viewers coming and seeing the video which has been showcased. So I'm hopeful that we'll have more inquiries pouring in, and you would be kept busy for the next few more days.
I mean, thank you, Gaurav sir, thank you, Sonia ma'am. In my personal capacity, even before I started Laundry, and I had been a huge admirer of you all. I mean, I've interacted with Franchisee India even before I started this brand, and it's amazing today that I'm working with you all. It's really a proud moment for us. I've been literally through most of the videos that you guys share on your channels, right? Just a quick note. I mean, it's been really a great opportunity. I think what you guys are doing is really, really great. Getting people like us on a platform like this, really helping a lot on the investors' point of view when they know that there's a resource crunch to get the right information from brands. Multiple opportunities available. So thanks a lot for that. And the entire team of Franchisee India, I mean, they've been really, very precise and very robust in actually, coordinating, just getting things, the creatives and all of it. I mean, hands on to them. A final note to the investors. I just want you guys to remember that everything that we have developed is strictly out of business requirement. It's not that we were a tech company and then we moved to laundry. We have worked from, grassroots level. I personally and most of my initial co-founders have actually done the washing at the stores. They have actually done the packaging. They have actually done the pickup and deliveries. So this is a team of really passionate individuals who have risen up from the ground instead of coming. We are not really from those, raised a massive amount of funding and then decided to get into laundry industry. So you work with people who know the in and out of the industry. You know the people who are equally passionate about this. It's really more about the, expanding the brand presence rather than just relying on the financial part of it. And we know for sure that unless you grow, it is literally and practically impossible for us as a brand to grow. If any of my stores and my franchisees are, not doing well, are struggling, that raises a question on the existence of our business as a parent company. So I want you all to remember that. You have my details, which, Archana had shared. You can quickly note it down before the meeting ends, because after that, you will not be able to make a note of it. And yes, I mean, Team Franchisee India is available for any queries that you might have. They'll be more than happy to schedule calls with me. And I'd love to talk to people. So feel free to have your list of questions ready. I will be more than happy to address each of them in detail. Thanks a lot. That's closing from my end. Thank you, Gaurav sir. Thank you, Sonia ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our panelists, Gaurav sir, Sonia ma'am, and Prateek. We exactly got 33 queries. Most of them are already answered. For rest of the queries, we'll definitely get back to you through emailers, and we'll try to align maximum one-to-one meeting with Prateek. Thank you so much, everyone. Take good care of yourself and your family. Stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good day.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Good day.
Okay, so everyone is leaving. Acha. Number of orders. Thank you everyone. Kolkata Bhawanipur. Okay, Archana, am I free to leave?
Yeah, Prateek, you can leave.
All right, thank you.
We're just waiting. Yeah, you can leave. Thank you so much.